Good morning, family. Can we bless the Lord in this room? What a joy it is to be in his presence and with his people. And thank you for bearing with the inclement weather. I know we're not used to it being this cold in Dallas, but you had to whip out your good winter coat, and we appreciate you pressing your way through on this morning. What a joy it is to be in his presence and with his people today. We are so excited. This weekend, of course, is a weekend in which we get to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a drum major for justice, and the incredible impact that he had during his leadership. But we are especially grateful today to welcome his oldest son of the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Miss Coretta Scott King. Martin Luther King III is a thought leader on the world stage. He's a peacemaker, he's a negotiator. He is someone that God is using not just in America, but across the world to advocate for global human rights, eradicating racism, violence, and poverty. He's earned a national reputation as a statesman and one who is compassionate and advocates for the poor and the oppressed. He has been an advocate for civil rights and the struggle against adversity and the importance of individual action to help live out his father's dream. We are so excited to welcome back to Concord Church. Concord, would you please receive at this time Martin Luther King III as he comes. We are so honored and grateful for you being with us today. We understand that throughout the years, when you've made it through Dallas, it's been a joy for us to host you at the Concord Church, and we are grateful. You've been busy this weekend, continuing to do the work and remind us of this important legacy. So thank you so very much for how the Lord has used you in so many ways.
Thank you.
I wanted to just spend some time together with you and just talk a little bit today as we reflect on your father's legacy. Also, congratulations on this new work that you've published entitled, What is My Legacy? We celebrate that. Here's the first question I wanted to ask you. How do you see your father's legacy continuing to shape conversations around justice and equality today? And how do you personally work to kind of continue to live that out?
So first of all, good morning, Concord. I am so honored to have the opportunity to be back here, and Pastor Carter, First Lady Carter, to your first family, to members and friends. And when I come here, all over the years, Diane Gibson, one of your members, has been always instrumental in being around and doing a lot of things in the community. And I got to mention another person, Kathy Neely, one of my closest and dearest friends here in Texas. And so many others. If I get you attributed to my head and not my heart. Good to be with the city manager as well. Pastor Carter, when I think about what Dad did and what is needed now, because our Savior, of course, is the Lord, but the nation is divided like it's never been before.
Yes.
Dad built coalitions, and he and his team, ministers here, ministers all over the country, and people worked to create the beloved community. That is needed now again, particularly as we're inaugurating a president that is back. I try not to be negative, but I'm not sure how you explain how something can emerge that has emerged, because we voted at a significant number percentage-wise, but so many didn't participate in the process. And so we're going to see some turbulent times. Now, what we know is our God is able.
That's right.
And that's all we have to hold on to, because man or humankind is leading us in a direction that's going to be very difficult for some of us. Yes. So, but what we are doing, meaning me, my wife, Andrea, our daughter, Yolanda Renee, is building a coalition. We have launched an effort called Realize the Dream. That is for Dad's 100th birthday, which is 2029, 100 million hours of service. Now, what the hope is that it brings people together. We hope it's a youth movement. It's for us to turn to each other and stop turning on each other. It's a consciousness, because everything is energy. How we interact with our young people, how we interact with our seniors, how we interact with our community leaders. So for 2029, we expect to be able to achieve over 100 million hours of service. That's anything that speaks to you. What I know is people will serve when it's something they want to do to change. So we're not saying, go work in the environment, go work for this soup kitchen, go work for, what speaks to your heart? And finally, for now, I talk a little bit, that's Pastor. Right. Sometimes I have to, get the coattail puller to stop me. but in all seriousness, what I know is it takes a few good human beings to bring about change. Dad and my mom throughout her life, that's how they engaged in community to build community. Dad's last book was entitled prophetically, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community. That book was written in 1967, almost 58 years ago. And so what are we going to do? It can't just be about oneself. That's why this initiative, we came up with it, because we got to do things bigger than ourselves to build community and to build a beloved community.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful. You talk a lot about service and the importance of that. Why do you think service is so important in terms of us living out the dream, in terms of us changing our world? How is service? How's all that connected together?
So service is what we all do. It's almost the rent you have to pay for what you receive. Yeah, to each of us, really much is given. I want to see if I can quantify this. We don't realize just how blessed we are.
My.
We take it for granted. The old adage that's saying, I used to complain because I had no shoes until I saw a man with no feet. We take it for granted that God wakes us up every day and infuses breath into us, and we're able to do the things that we do. So service is sort of the rent that we should pay, but it's something we just ought to do. And I can assure you that if we did far more service, that this nation would be a better nation for all of God's children.
That's great. That's great. We have a number of young people in the room. If you are under the age of, let's say, 21, would you please stand? I want all of our young people under the age of 21, would you please stand? Keep standing, keep standing, keep standing, keep standing. We want you to know, we wanted you to stand because we want you to know you're watching history. We want you to see that Mr. King today represents the history of his father and an entire generation that worked valiantly to help provide you with the opportunities that you have. But I want him to see you. But what words would you say to this next generation, these young people, as they continue to live, as they continue to walk in this season?
So I want to frame this in a quote that you may have heard of my father's, because he used to say that in life, you must find out what your calling is and do your job better than the living, the dead, or the unborn. He went on to say that if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, well, go on and sweep streets like Michelangelo carved marble. Sweep streets like Beethoven composed music. Sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Sweep streets like Raphael painted pictures. Sweep streets so well that all the host of the heavens and earth would have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper that did their job well. So, in life, when you find what your calling is, you can't help but to engage in it. And you know, this is a simple saying that Nike used to use. And this applies really to everything in life. Just do it.
Yeah.
Every last one of you has a gift. You should identify that gift and live out it for yourself, for your family, and for our society. And finally, don't give up, don't give in, don't give out. Keep moving forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, help me thank once again Martin Luther King III for sharing with us in such a powerful way on today.